Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk about the process of life and how it inevitably is going to destroy you. But here is the good caveat. It is not going to destroy the real you. It is only going to destroy the you that you thought you were, that ultimately inhibits your deepest freedom and feeling of liberation and feeling of joy, right? Life is always moving in a way where, especially when you begin to awaken, especially when you begin to be interested in the nature of reality and in the nature of moving into your most powerful self, life is going to rearrange situations or arrange situations in order to create enough pressure. Right? You can imagine it like a pressure cooker, right? It just creates enough pressure for these unconscious parts of you, these, you can say, egoic parts, or parts that you have created from your childhood, from your development, in order to feel safe, in order to protect yourself. And yet the pressure cooker of life is created in order for these parts of you to be integrated, right? To be transformed into your soul, into who you really are, or to liberate who you really are, right? And I want to speak about this because I think life can get extremely challenging in moments, and there's no way around it. And I think on the journey of life being so challenging, we have to rely on a sense of lightheartedness or humor, a sense of seeing the deeper truth, and a sense of aligning with what is actually happening, so we're not so identified with the one that's dying, because on some level there is something within you that's dying, right? The identity of a separate self, the identity of you as an individual, not aligned, not connected to the overall spirit, to the spirit of all beings, right? And to the spirit within you. And I had a realization today that hit me deeply. And I think I wrote down these words was, you are not the process. You are the freedom the process is bringing you into. And I want you to feel into that for a moment. You are not the process. You are the freedom the process is bringing you into. And I think when you truly feel into the depth of that, it is a liberating statement, because so many times when we're being challenged by life, when doubts come up, fears come up, the deepest pains of our past surface, right? There is this part of us that feels like life is against us, or there's this part of us that feels like, why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. This anger, this frustration feels like life is right? Situations are happening that are creating more pain for you. And when you're identified with the process, when you're identified with the pain that is being evoked, when you're identified with the narratives and stories that are coming up in your mind, that are coming up in your perceptions, this is what you believe and what you're identified with. It makes the process not only hard, but it creates this extra layer of suffering, because we feel like we're alone. We feel like we're experiencing something we can't find our way out of. And we're not connected to the deeper spirit underneath the process. We're not open and receptive to receive the transformational healing that is actually happening, and to receive the underlying truth of the process, which is to liberate you and make you more powerful, more of yourself, more tapped into the freedom and the joy of life, and the absolute possibility and the absolute unlimitedness of your being. And that's where life is bringing you to. But when we're so immersed in the process, we often are just in the process thinking we are the one tumbling in the process. And this is where presence work becomes so pivotal. This is where you remembering, and we can do this right now together. This is where you remembering that underneath the pain, underneath the challenge, underneath the absolute agony, there is a presence of being. There is simply a quality of being that is witnessing the process. And that is who you are. You are the freedom underneath the process. The process is Shiva, right? The religious methodology. In the religious methodology, Shiva is the destroyer of the illusions. Life is bringing you Shiva when you're going through these processes. And life is destroying the illusions. But the illusions were what you thought you were, what you thought life was. And life is breaking that down. And this is always going to be painful, right? And I'm not saying you can like be, like just, oh yeah, it's happening and I love it. You don't love it. A part of you hates it. A part of you is absolutely disgusted by what's happening. A part of you actually doesn't want it to happen. And that authenticity, that realness is important, right? But on a deeper level, when you're touched into your spirit, you can actually at the same time, almost simultaneously, receive the joy of transformation. Receive the joy and feel into who you are becoming as a result of this process. And it is important for you to practice, to cultivate, to feel into that. And you can ask yourself this question: who am I becoming as part of this process? Who am I becoming at the end of this? What is the light at the end of the tunnel of this dark road that is awakening within me? And can I feel into that as a way to bring into my body and nervous system already the experience of freedom that the process is bringing me into? And I want you right now, just take a moment and feel. Maybe there is pain there. Maybe there's struggle. Maybe there is this absolute frustration of life not going your way. And I can relate to that. There's many moments in my life where this part gets activated that feels frustrated. I feel like things aren't moving the way that I'd like it to move. And yet all that it is doing is showing me where my perceptions are still rooted in something other than freedom and trust in spirit. So right now I want you to feel into with me the nature of reality, the nature of being within you. Can you feel into the quality on an emotional and energetic level? Can you feel into the quality of peace? Can you feel into the quality of the freedom? Who is the eye of the hurricane throughout this process? Who are you really? Who is the one that is observing, noticing, experiencing the process unfolding, yet somehow unaffected, somehow not touched? Can you feel into that quality? Because that quality is you. That quality is who you are. That quality is the deepest nature of your being. And if right now all you feel is pain, all you feel is frustration, oh, I'm not getting this right. No. That is just another thought on the infinite landscape of your awareness, of your freedom. So let that pass like a wave in the ocean and slip underneath. What is even noticing that thought? What is noticing the frustration? What is noticing the anger? What is noticing the pain? Right now I have a pain in my chest, a tension in my chest. What is noticing the tension in my chest? What is with the tension in my chest? What is experiencing it? Feel into that. Or you can even say out loud, I allow myself to feel the nature of freedom that is underneath my felt experience. And see what that statement evokes in you. I allow myself to feel the nature of freedom that is underneath my felt experience. Because the nature of freedom has nothing to do with feelings or thoughts. But this is where we perceive our life from most of the time, a mixed bag of what we believe, what we think, and what we feel. And it's clustered together to create our perception. But you, my friend, are beyond perception. You are pure presence itself. You are the being that is aware of perception. And of course you perceive in life. There's no way for you to perceive in life, not to perceive in life. And that's why ultimately, as we are rooted in the freedom, as we come back to it, we also choose to perceive in the highest possible way, in a way that feels unlimited, feels free, feels powerful, feels true in our heart, in our core. So it's not about not perceiving, but it is about noticing the perceiver itself. And that is you, my friend. And I want you to feel, even just a little bit, that in that space, there is a peace. And in that peace, there is freedom. And in that freedom, there is the power of being beyond the process, not tumbled by the process. But the process is happening. The challenges are unfolding. The feelings are arising. The thoughts of frustrations are coming up. It's not about not trying to have the process, and that's what most people try to go to. They try to avoid the process. They try to distract themselves from the process, right? They move to distractions, right? Alcohol, to numb their feelings because they can't deal with the process, because they're identified with the process. But if you really understand the freedom and begin to feel the freedom beyond the process, you're actually able to hold the process unfolding without being collapsed by it, because you root your identity in something deeper than the process itself. Feel that for a moment. To feel your nature is to feel the invincibility of who you are, the true freedom and infinite joy of your being, that no matter the process, you are going to survive it and you are going to move through it. Because you are the freedom at the end of the process. You're the freedom the process is bringing you to. And you're already that. And yet on an embodied experiential level, for us to feel that all consistently as human beings, it also needs to integrate into our body and nervous system. And that's what the process is trying to get you to. It's trying to clear all of the trauma, all of the pain, all of the perceptions that are not serving you out of you, so you can embody the freedom that you already are, so you can live it to the deepest, in the deepest possible way, so you can live absolute freedom. And that's why the process is guiding you to all the places where you're not free. And it is bringing up the perceptions muddled up in there, right? Sometimes for me, personally speaking, right, I don't feel so free being myself at times in my work, right? There's a part of me that, even though I can feel into the stillness, the depth, the presence, and transmit that and bring that teaching, sometimes there's a part of me that has a difficulty to be the joyful, open, ridiculous self that I am in my life, right? When I'm with my friends, when I'm with my buddies, because there's some kind of area where I don't feel free, some kind of perceptions in the past that still plays itself out. So that's the practice, that's the awareness, right? Life is making you aware of that, and you begin to shift that. You begin to, as you begin to bring awareness to it, you practice to choose differently, right? And oftentimes the truth of sharing your heart and what is on your heart liberates what is trying to hide, right? And that's why I'm sharing with you that vulnerability, that sometimes it's hard for me to feel fully like myself in all ways, to feel the joy, to feel the childlike playfulness that I would like to feel, right? It is something deep within me, but sometimes to bring it into this work, I have a hard time. There's this part that feels like it needs to be serious, right? And I can feel that there's pain there, but that's the process. Deep down, I am the freedom. Deep down, you're the freedom. And life is guiding you to all the areas where you're not free. And that takes time, right? This is not a matter of a few days, a few hours, a week, a year. This is year by year, decades, right? Deep inner transformation. But the more you're open to it, and the more you can rest as the freedom beyond the process, the more you can let it transform you. And so that is my invitation to you. Don't try to hide from the process. Let the process destroy you, because it's only going to destroy what you're not. It's only going to destroy the illusory self. It is only going to destroy the identity and beliefs you hide under, the armor that you hold. It's going to destroy that. And what remains is the purity and the love and the absolute joy and openness of spirit, of freedom, which is what you already are. So this is my invitation to you. Let the process be the process, but continue to anchor and speak yourself, if needed, into the remembrance that you are the freedom already the process is bringing you to. And to feel that freedom and to let that freedom give you solace in your heart so you can move through this process and let it transform you, because you see that it is valuable, you see that it is needed, and you see that it makes you better, and you are devoted to that. And when you truly see that and remember that, then you want to have all the challenges come your way so they can free you. You don't want to hide from them anymore, because you want to be the deepest embodiment of the freedom that you are. That is what you yearn for in your heart. You want to feel like the unlimited, joyful being that you are. So let the process destroy what is false by remembering what is already true, what is already real. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope this helps you navigate and see the process of life, the challenging journey of life, from a different lens, in a way that empowers you, in a way that lets you stay centered in the truth throughout it.